We've received a huge enthusiastic participation from students, with over 400 students from all over India who've registered for this program. A very warm welcome to all the students here. Thank you all for joining in today to Career Discovery Conclave. When we thought of this conclave initially, it was stemmed by the request from my students over these years, who used to always talk about, ma'am, what is this career about? If I do engineering, what will I do? If I get into robotics, what kind of work will I be doing? If I get into digital marketing, what is it that I will be doing in digital marketing? And so many such questions coming from students all over had always been pouring my heart in the last few years. And coming from this request came this idea of doing this webinar with all of the young minds of India to bring in industry professionals at your doorsteps, where we could directly talk to industry professionals who've been there, who've done these amazing part of their journey has been in the careers that we are all aspiring to reach into, and who better than them can be talking about what this career is all about and what it takes to succeed in these careers. First question to you is that engineering is one of the most popular career choices in India. You know, we always see most parents and students, especially who are taking up science, thinking that this is the most obvious and the most popular choice. So the first thing that we as student fraternity, today I'm representing myself as from the student fraternity, we would want to know, what do actually engineers do?
Right. So I think see, it's a vast question, and there is no one right answer to it. I think what how I can summarize it is it that how engineers are trained are to identify problems, to solve them, and finally to execute them at a big level. Right. I think that's what is the DNA of an engineer. Right? Different branches have different kind of solutions which you are focusing on. For example, a mechanical engineer is probably focusing on how to make the. I mean, I'm talking about these days, right? So a mechanical engineer probably is thinking about how to make the next electric vehicle or the next flying taxi probably.
Is that flexibility allowed to change the branch or your specialization from an undergraduate to a master's course when the students are probably more aware of what they're wanting to do?
I think absolutely. From undergraduate to masters, I'm pretty sure you are allowed to do that.
So coming to my next question, Nipun, is that engineering is supposed to be a very, very coveted, very safe career option. And when I speak to students and parents, a lot of students and parents just think of doing engineering because they think that this is kind of something which is very safe, will yield to something at least in life, and there is always a propensity to get into some job, big or small. So what is your opinion? Should a parent or a student get into engineering without understanding their strengths or weaknesses just because it's a safe option? Are there any failures as well in this career?
Obviously. So I think, see, I think you can't enter any stream, be it engineering, be it, CA, becoming a CA, becoming anything, right? I think you can't just dive into it without understanding the pros and cons. While it is understood to be the most coveted thing, I think it's more of an availability bias, because you have so many engineers around you, because there are so many institutes who are offering these courses. Hence, people and people want to get some kind of a degree at the end of the day. So I think that's why we see a lot of them as well. But I think the important part over here is employability, or if you're trying to do something on your own, right? I mean, I count entrepreneurship as well in employability, right? So if you have a path chosen for yourself, that's when you should be deciding whether or not engineering is the right option. It is not a short short for anybody to do engineering and, hey, now we have conquered the world. That is, I can tell you, that's just a beginning. That's when you start figuring out, hey, what you want to do in life, right?
So my next question to you is, a lot of engineers also get into subsequent management education, just like you did. A lot of them also go ahead to pursue government services like the UPSC. And there's a popular myth or a popular belief that engineers have an edge in clearing examinations or clearing admission requirements for management or for UPSC and other government examinations. Do you think that is true? Does any other career not provide that advantage?
I can't comment on UPSC, and honestly, I also can't comment on what other career options provide. But yes, what engineering does do is give you that logical thinking, and that's what, fortunately, unfortunately, most of the entrance examinations on the management side are based on. They're basically mostly on your mathematical ability or your logical thinking ability, and some such stuff like this, right? So I think yes, once you have that engineering background, it does help you.
My next question to you is that um, what would be your advice to students who are planning to take up engineering as a career choice? What kind of skills should they be having? Should there be some kind of introspection? What would be your advice?
I think the very skill, but I think the very first question they really need to ask, again, I think I'm repeating myself, but is yes, do they like science? Do they like to do they like problem solving, right? If they are ticking those two boxes, that's when they should be thinking of engineering as a first option. Engineering as an option, not the first option, but yes, as an option. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, I think, in our times, about 15, 20 years back, we didn't have too much of information available. It was there, but it was only through, our friends, families, but we didn't have access to the entire world. Do a thorough research in terms of what lies ahead of you if you are going with a particular stream, and what are the possible career options if you are choosing a particular stream. I think research is a key for everything.
My last question to you is that what are the industry trends in this field, in this career of engineering? How do you see this whole space evolving over the next few years? Because when we're talking to these students who are largely in grade 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, we're probably preparing them not for today. We're preparing them for a decade later, because most of them will get into the workforce at least 7 to 8 years from now. So we have to look and guide them according to careers which are more futuristic, which will have scope. So how do you see these trends evolving in the industry?
See, evolving in various directions within engineering as well. But I think one common theme across all these streams is the impact of digitalization, right? The entire AI, machine learning, or all the other things which are happening in this area. And I'm sure the courses are going to be catching up with that as well, because even if you are trying to do something in AI or machine learning, let's say manufacturing domain, you still need to understand the mechanical engineering or try to understand what exactly is going on in terms of the digitalization of industries, be it the traditional industries such as civil engineering or mechanical engineering, or the new age industries such as computer science and electronics and biotechnology and so on and so forth, right? So yeah, I think that's a common theme running across, and which will eventually take over. That is not to say that the other sciences are going to be obsolete. But yes, I think they will, let's say, be the cherry on the top of the cake, which is going to be your basic engineering.
There is another great question about what is the expected growth rate with the current market situation and a large number of students joining in the engineering field? Are there requirements in this field?
I don't remember a time when this was not there. I mean, I think for the last, I think donkey years, we have had big amount of competition in every field in India. So it's about in what particular direction that will define your success, rather than who else is competing alongside you. So I mean, if that's a world we live in. Even if you go to any economy, not just India, I think you will face a lot of competition in any career you choose. It's not going to be okay, I do this, it's a secure job. No, it doesn't happen like this, not anymore.
The next question is coming in about PhD physics. How is it similar or different from engineering? Any thoughts?
Again, don't have much idea on this, but I think with any PhD, I think you delve deeper into you dive deeper into any subject which you are choosing. So interesting branch out of it, and you want to probably make research a career, which is again a very good option which engineering gives you. I think that's when a PhD is probably required. And I've also been seeing of late the trend of PhDs getting back to the industry to contribute with whatever they've done in their PhD stint more than what they've done in the engineering part.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it's a good option.
Yes, absolutely. And I would like to say that you should aspire to do a PhD when you're interested more in doing a lot of research rather than the application side of the industry. If you're interested in studying, delving deep into the subject, getting more and more understanding about a particular subject, whichever it is, and doing more phenomenal areas of research, then you should probably be getting into PhD. And if you think you want to be into the application side, where whatever you've learned, you want to apply it into the industry, that's when you should get into something like an engineering, which is called an applied science. So in abroad, we have this concept of applied science and theoretical science. So when you do applied science, you are into an area where you're applying your knowledge, something like an engineering, where just like how Nipun said a while ago, that you're applying your knowledge to create solutions. Whereas if you're into theoretical science, you are doing more of theory and studies and research to bring in more value and more foundations, which can be on which these engineers can apply knowledge on. So that's the large difference between doing PhD and engineering. You have to understand what are you more interested in before taking that subject. The next question is architectural engineering a good career option for girls? Now
That's a very, I think let's move on to the next question.
Yes. So I'd like to answer that question. We are hugely becoming inclusive. Yes, we've not been a very inclusive nation till now, students, but it's time that young children and especially the upcoming generation becomes highly inclusive, and girls are today breaking boundaries in each and every aspect of career. If you think you are good in any stream, there is nothing stopping you. So please do not get bogged down by being a girl coming from some particular origin, coming from a small town, being from a Hindi medium school, or any such biases that the world is telling you. Do not believe in these biases. The industry is there to welcome you with open arms, provided you have the merit in you. They are only and only hiring you on the basis of your merit. So today, being a girl, if you can knock down a boy, they're ready to take you in. So please do not have those biases. The next question is, what is the scope of chemical engineering?
So I think from chemical engineering perspective, I think there's a lot of focus on recycling, on preventing the effluents into our rivers, into our oceans. So there's a lot. I think I'm forgetting that word. So I think the bigger picture is recycling. So I think with that, if there are a lot of companies who are trying to develop technologies within this chemical engineering domain, with which you can treat the effluents and try to minimize the damage which is done to the rivers.
Absolutely, and you rightly pointed out, Nipun, that there are environment has become such an important topic for the whole world today.
Right.
And there's so much that each organization and nations altogether are talking about. And students with background in chemistry can absolutely go on to make a successful career in space related to environment, besides the other obvious industries that we've been seeing in over the decades.